Here, in London, I've just recently come back from the London Toy Fair. It's a brilliant yearly event that comes around every January. And basically, what you do is you go there and you look at the toys that are set to be big, in the coming year. When you think about it, when we were kids, we all loved toys, didn't we? Do you remember coming home from school and seeing those adverts, in between children's programs? And then you'd say to your mum, I want one of those. And it could be like Scale Electrics, Meccano, things like that. Do you remember Kaplonk? Yes, that was annoying, wasn't it? And Operation. I mean, can you imagine giving that to a kid now? Operation, they'd know more about it than you, wouldn't they? You know what I'm saying in this trans wokey world? Probably they'll have trans woke Operation now, wouldn't they? Credible when you think. But seriously, back to the toy fair, fascinating stuff. But what it got me thinking was, and I wanted to share this with you really, was it's interesting how things come in full cycles because they had all of these brand new toys and some of them are incredible. These electric cars that have got everything in them, USB sticks, radios, all sorts of stuff. When I was a kid, you had a pedal car. Do you remember that? You did it yourself. That was green, wasn't it? Who needed that? We were always green, weren't we? That's the problem. But now it's interesting, as I say, because I was speaking to one of the main organisers at the toy fair and saying, well, what will be big? What is still now? What do people like? And it's interesting to note that actually, all thanks to our brilliant former monarch, our late and beautiful Queen Elizabeth II, that you've guessed it, one of the biggest exports of toys and still going strong is the Paddington tea set alongside the Paddington Bear. Now, we saw that, didn't we, with all those wonderful Paddington bears that were left in remembrance for the late Queen with all those wonderful flowers. I mean, it was very moving. And we also told you, didn't we, about how Camilla had very kindly had them all cleaned up, and taken off to various children's homes, doing some good, which is just wonderful when you think. But then I said to them, well, what else is big? What else would we see? Yes, there's some fabulous new toys, but apparently there is a resurgence in things that are probably from our generation, particularly Barbies. Now, that's going to be tricky, isn't it, Barbie now? Because we're always told, aren't we, that Barbies are going out of date, The bottom line is people don't like them, it's not necessarily PC, all that sort of stuff. I love that particular gag that a comedian did once when I was working with him, where he said that he'd gone in to buy a Barbie at Hamley's store in London and he couldn't believe the price. And she was called Divorced Barbie. And he said, how much is it? They said £300. He said, that's a lot for a doll. He said, ah, yes. But you see, Divorced Barbie comes with Ken's house, Ken's car, and Ken's bank balance. Cruel, but very funny, isn't it? So Barbies are definitely big and back, right? And as I say, Star Wars is still on the rise, but seemingly not modern day Star Wars, but actually, the latter day stuff. Empire Strikes Back, original Star Wars. So everything comes a full circle. But the number one choice at this year's London Toy Fair export thing was none other than Paddington Bear. And for that, really, we do have to thank our wonderful late monarch for making such a British icon come back to the top of the toy charts. It's wonderful. It always warms the heart each time you watch it. And as I often say, and I genuinely mean this, and I'm sure everybody out in this community agrees with me, thank you, Mom. It was a wonderful, wonderful performance for both of you. But what a lovely legacy to leave behind. Children still discovering something so kind, so warm, even if, like me, you're not that keen on marmalade sandwiches. Do let me know what your favourite toys were of yesteryear. Do you still look at them? Have you still got them? Or have you sold them off on eBay? Don't get me going, times are hard. And what would you buy now if you had a choice, if you look at the stuff? Would you go for the older brand of toys, or would you try and look out for something a little bit more digital? Or have toys actually now gone out of fashion, say, with your grandchildren? As ever, let me know in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.